I have been teaching for over 25 years. My first teaching job was right after I graduated from Western Washington University. The professor that was in charge of the voice department at Western reached out to me knowing that after recently graduating, I was still in the area for a little while and there were some overflow students. And so she asked if I would take them on. And that's when it all began. I have been singing my entire life. I can't remember a time when I wasn't singing, but the first time that I ever sang publicly was when I was 5 years old and I sang at the talent show at the elementary school that I went to. It was called Germs, My Invisible Dog, choreographed by my dad. So I was raised in music my entire life. My mom's a musician. My brother played instruments and also sings. My dad was a big appreciator of music. And then, of course, I was steeped in music my entire life. So my background is basically lots of choir at church. I did marching band. I was in percussion in middle school. And then when we moved to the Northwest, I jumped right back into choir and got really serious about classical singing, where I went to Ferris High School in Spokane, and I was in the very well-known group Canterbury Bells, and that changed my life. And then I wasn't sure what I wanted to get my degree in. So I spent some time just working and I took some classes at Spokane Falls Community College and there was a teacher there that said, "Hey, you've got the chops to sing classically and to really do this." And so I ended up pursuing a vocal performance degree at Western. And then after that, I got my Master of Education in Curriculum and Instruction, and I graduated with a certification K-12 to teach in the public schools. And I taught at Coeur d'Alene High School for 9 years, and that was a really neat experience. And so now I teach here privately, and I absolutely love what I do. Also, I've performed professionally. I've performed with Opera Coeur d'Alene, which is now, I think, it's Inland Northwest Opera. It was originally Opera, it was Opera Plus. I was with them when they first started with Opera Plus, and then Opera Coeur d'Alene, and now it's Inland Northwest Opera. And then, of course, I've performed with theaters in the region, including Lake City Playhouse, including a Coeur d'Alene Summer Theater. And I've had so much fun over the years performing. Also, Need a Little Christmas, which is now Traditions of Christmas. I got to be in Need a Little Christmas the second year that they had that production. And it was the same year that Patty Duke was in the show. And it was an absolutely fantastic experience.
Something I forgot to mention was that some of the most important years of my foundational learning, it was spent in doing theater in elementary school, middle school, high school, and all the way through college, my undergraduate and my graduate level work. And every step of the way, whenever there were opportunities to be in shows, whether it was musical theater or opera, I took advantage of those opportunities to lay the groundwork.
Do I like teaching? No, I love teaching. No, I genuinely love what I do. People ask me all the time, when are you going to get on stage again? And I don't know. It's not something biting at my heels. Whereas before I was always right there on the door knocking, like, got to get into those auditions, got to go, go, go. And lately it's more like I just absolutely love teaching and I love pouring into my students and shining a light onto them. I've been told by students that they appreciate that I really make it about them and I'm there for them in their process. And I want to hold space for my students in their vocal journey. Am I too old to take voice lessons? No. So anyone that can sing can take voice lessons. Right now, the youngest I will take is the age of 12. That might change, but right now it's 12 and up. And I've had students in their 70s and even early 80s. How young is too young to take a voice lesson? Honestly, if you're if you're a human being and you can sing, you should enjoy singing and I think voice lessons in general depends on the teacher and their philosophy and how they teach. There are lots of teachers that take on students under the age of 12. And so I will send students that direction. I also will tell young students, like the ones that are under age 12, it's really good to get into like singing, of course, at school, the elementary programs that they have, singing in choirs, playing an instrument. It's really good to get into piano, violin, that type of thing. Strengthen the ear. The younger, the better. But as far as voice lessons here at the studio, the youngest is age 12, and the oldest is as old as you wish and you want to sing, take lessons. Do I have potential, or does my son or daughter have potential to be a great singer? Well, it depends on several different factors. It depends upon some people, it's like will come in with natural ability, but they're lazy and they don't do the work. And they just end up spinning their wheels and they end up just remaining a big fish in a small pond. They book a lot of gigs locally because they've got a natural ability, but they don't really take it any further. And if that's what they want, they want that they wish to do, that's fine. I have some students who come to me that may not have the most natural ability, but they have the work ethic and they're consistent. And then they end up really they go the distance. But when those two things are put together, the sky's the limit. So it really depends on some different things and different factors. The most important thing, though, is teachability. And then there comes consistency. And then there just comes the desire to do the work and the love of singing and the love of theater and the love of getting onto the stage. So if those things are in place, you would be amazed at how far a student can go. But I can't tell you within 30 minutes, or even just like when I work with a student, I can't tell them if they're going to be a great anything if they don't do the work. I have a saying, and it goes like this: hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. And I don't know who came up with that quote. If someone else did, I don't remember who it is, and I would like to be able to give them credit. But if you know, please let me know. But it's the truth. I have a lot of really talented, over the years, I've had a lot of talented students who were just lazy and were not teachable. And then the kids that were, or the adults that were teachable and might not have had as much talent up front, but they did the work. They passed them up and went on to do some really fabulous things. I've had two students go to Tisch at NYU, and I've had students go on to do all kinds of incredible things. And what all of those students have in common is the drive and the desire to make it happen. No one's beating down their door to do the work. They have a desire to do it. And so therefore it pays off. Have you had any students who were not able to learn how to sing? I've had students who just end up spinning their wheels because they're not teachable, or they really just didn't want to do the work, and they just realized like it was just not quite what they thought they were signing up for. Because a lot of people think I'm going to be able to land this in like a week or two, like because we've seen movies where they have the montage where everyone's like, like they're teaching them how to sing, or they're, like a sporting event or something, and they whip them into shape quickly in this 2 minute, musical montage. When really it's like it's a journey. Finding your voice is a journey. I made a video. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's called The Long Game. Finding your voice is a journey, and it's the truth. It takes time. And the only students I've ever found that haven't really like not that they couldn't sing at the beginning, but really didn't meet their potential were the ones that just didn't do the work. I mean, either they just wouldn't, or they didn't really want to, and that's okay too. You don't have to. It's not for everybody. It's perfectly fine. And then the other obstacle would be students that just don't hear pitch well. And sometimes that is what people would call tone deafness. And I've had students really develop the ability to hear pitch by tightening up what the brain tells the chords, which, the ear tells the brain, tells the chords. And so when those things get tightened up, it does improve their ability to sing, but sometimes it does not, even with all of their hard work, the range is limited. And sometimes it really boils down to an anatomical situation where maybe just they are literally unable to, but that's incredibly rare. Most people can sing. In fact, a lot of people will tell me, oh, I don't sing, I can't sing. And then they come in and they sing beautifully. And I'm like, did you know that if you can speak, you can sing? Singing is an extension of speaking. And so we have that conversation. So anyway, it's rare. That's the answer to that question. Answer to that question. Question. Do you have an ideal student? Teachable, consistent, do the work, and have fun. Why is music and why are voice lessons important? Well, it has been proven scientifically that it's actually good for us. Art saves lives. Music changes the world. We need it. In fact, the more we can sing together in a corporate way, the better. I have a student who comes in every week and we do duets. And we're both by the end of it, like our nervous systems are better for it. Our bodies are designed for corporate singing. And so checking in with another person for them to be able to check your technique. Not only is it good for your technique, I'm looking over where my student would be standing. Not only is it good for your technique, but it's also just good for human interaction and it's good for our health. And man, AI sure can't replace that, can it?